question is, the question I had was...
Now, it's pretty arbitrary where we start on this one, so let's just begin by looking at North America. After all, it's here that the United States has historically emitted more total greenhouse gases than any other country.
I have a business question. Please explain to me why...
I guess we're pretty bad. Yeah. In a way, we're like a giant bloodsucker. What did you say?
Mandalas and other symbols of order, Jung believed to be compensatory symbols of wholeness.
Hello there.
Which are manifested by the self in times of crisis.
Scrolling through billions of phone records.
It was hard to read in the press, NSA.
Well, how can the film be constructed?
I just don't know what all this stuff is, you know?
Nobody knows how this is going to turn out. This is an experiment.
I mean, we live inside a democracy, and public will matters in a democracy. I just hope it's informed public will. And frankly, when the decisions are made, you understand the costs.
Yeah. Surprised at the same time.
Right now.
As your attorney, I must remind you.
To the best of my knowledge, it's still a classified program, and I'm not here to divulge national security information. From the point of view of the masters, you're only supposed to care about the progress of the future. I don't necessarily have answers. I have questions.
You're making yourself an easier target.
Yeah, that may be the case, but I know you...
The world was so focused on...
Where do you want to go?
The interesting thing, though, is...
Like Facebook and Google deny
The companies scrambled to respond to the news.
Who denies that they have direct access? Who's right?
They freaked out because they'd never heard of a program called PRISM, and...
Tu es fou.
Wait.
Sympathy is a fundamental human trait.
But a lot of other people from the world are part of this discourse, and...
What did he say?
We will look at this as crafted by American men and women.
Layers upon layers of more and more convoluted, expensive...
Mr. Whitaker, has AT&T provided customer information to any law enforcement agency?
Senator, we protect the privacy of our customers and we follow the law. That's all I can say about that.
Are you declining to answer my question, Mr. Whitaker?
We follow the law, Senator.
Does AT&T provide customer information to any law enforcement agency?
We follow the law, Senator.
That is not an answer.
Capable of enormous self-deception.
Does that leave any room at all for
a mental process?
in a way that is creating a bit of an illusion.
Time will tell how successful it will be.
The letter Merrill received was a National Security Letter, or NSL. After 9/11, the Patriot Act allowed any FBI office in the country to issue NSLs without a court's review and with a gag order.
Fascinating.
It said he couldn't tell anyone about this letter at all. And that gag order is part of what made him concerned about going even to a lawyer.
To be honest with you, I was terrified to talk to anyone about it, so I didn't.
What are you talking about?
It can change in a way that's beyond your control.
Well, one day that's going to happen to me.
Now that gives you all the necessary data.
But then there was more bad news. In a program called Muscular, the NSA was secretly extracting data from fiber optic cables overseas, where intelligence operations are much less restrained by surveillance laws.
And from outer space to cyberspace, information is power.
We're trying to keep tabs on what's happening and making sure that we have the right policies in place to address that.
And whenever a new environment goes around an old one, there's always new terror.
I was often at variance with the reality of things.
It's like the worst periods of American history. There's a trace of sedition in your talk.
Deriving from the collective unconscious.
So a big part of it is government spending. And so the technology has really taken off, and a lot of companies have started to sort of glom onto this idea that this is the future.
Now is the future.
That data feeds an AI system that the government claims can predict individuals prone to terrorism.
Prevent accidents and be happy.
You do have to have emotional control. I mean, we see very smart people do very stupid things. And it's fascinating how humans do that. Just take the people that...
That same year, the FBI issued 56,000 national security letters.
Look, people.
What seems very alien to us when I talk to my Chinese students about this, they say, well, if it prevents crime and if it makes for a more orderly society, why not?
It'll be a disaster because that will overcome rationality.
But my relation to reality was not particularly brilliant.
Like with an iceberg, you see just a small tip on the surface and the rest is beneath.
I have no definite indications in that respect, but
he had to look.
For example, they give the voiceless people a channel to make your voice heard. We had a petition system. It's a remedy outside the judicial system. Because Chinese central government want to keep a myth. The emperor is good. All the local officials are thugs.
So we're not directly affiliated with the US government or its own agencies. We're completely independent in our operation.
From the beginning, we are asked to serve competing agendas. The agenda of instinctual truth, natural development, and the agenda of whatever our social unit or tribe is asking of us.
Startled by a sudden shadow.
This was a real challenge. It was maybe even a stupid idea.
This is what our culture is beginning to carry on in very big dimensions.
Where are we going? That's really important.
That's all you need to know.
No way.
It takes a lot of introspection to sort of get that.
Do you remember the incident in San Francisco where the technician, Mark Klein, had found the room with the splitter?
Vaguely.
What was that about?
I'm not going to talk about that.
And so he begins to go through a sort of transformation.
Was it a legal program?
Absolutely legal, yes.
Was it part of warrantless wiretapping?
I don't think so.
Was it under a FISA court order?
I'm not going to get into that.
But there will be collateral effects.
Things are going to happen that we just can't foresee.
It's what made it so dangerous.
Those are stepping stones, building blocks.
Interesting.
In fact, this is something that you're trying to communicate.
Layers upon layers of more and more convoluted, expensive,
invisible thing really depends upon what has never been seen before.
It's titled A Story Can Change Your Life. On the morning she became a young widow, my grandmother, startled by
an agent had come to hand deliver a letter to me. We offered to give them the information if they would simply get a real warrant, and the fact that they refused to get one.
I should have seen this coming.
How do I understand that?
There has to be an answer someplace.
There is, but you won't find it in jail.
Years later, her doctor told me she came back cured.
And history is truly on the move today.
And trials have already started.
So it's a great question. I'll answer it towards the end.
We're done here. You really wouldn't have seen it coming.
Class is very simple. Who gives the orders, who follows?
Unhappily, the danger it poses promises to be of indefinite duration.
This is strictly for entertainment.
Many people might see this as dangerous. Perhaps it is, but it develops new capacities. And
most of the time, if you really stop and pay attention, one's being flooded by traffic messages of various kinds. And they usually have to do with protecting us from two elemental threats.
The modern world has gone mad in so many ways.
A psychedelic thrill.
Machines like these help make things safer.
There's a sense of the desire to know in order to control.
This machine is different than what we just looked at. This machine is larger. It's used for higher speeds.
Your business is my business now.
What does that mean?
The end of my poem.
You cannot imagine how one-sided people are nowadays.
Do I want to wear a black suit?
What do they mean?
If you're under instructions by the federal government as a matter of state secrecy not to talk, say so.
Senator, we follow the law.
Yes.
By attempting to apply power and ego control to promote ideology rather than mythology.
We need to use this crisis to finish the work.
And feeling like I should have seen all this coming. But it is unacceptable as an American citizen.
The need to maintain balance.
Really, the whole creative work is finished. All you have now is to wait and see it diminish.
この施設はですね、年間平均しますと7回ぐらいこの施設に流入してくるんですね。
で昨年はですね、多くてですね12回この施設に水が入ってきたというところです。
Charting a future based on these same proven principles.
Okay. Well, that's terrifying news.
What do I know?
Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you?
If countermeasures fail,
I don't think we can play with those possibilities and just race ahead without thinking about the potential outcomes.
Deeper forces in American society.
Now, in the time that I have left, it turns out
it leaves all kinds of other people behind.
But on the other hand,
and that those patterns are often not representing our best possibilities or our actual professed values.
Well, that ain't good.
And frankly, when the decisions are made, you understand the costs.
Feeling overwhelmed by life or feeling abandoned by life.
So that was I'd say a subtle analysis.
Later we might scratch our head and say, what was I thinking about?
Members of the policy elite are still stuck in a past that really is no longer relevant. To me, that defines our problem. With that, I'll stop.
What was the question?
Hello, test subject.